Tonight's guest is a photographer whose career spans over 50 years. From working at the TVA French television network to photographing celebrities, hockey players, banquets, events, you name it, our guest was there to take that picture. Folks, we got an interesting show for you tonight. You don't want to go anywhere. Stay right where you are. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rob's Inner Circle here on my personal Facebook page and on the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel, and now also on Twitch. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We have an interesting show for you tonight. We have a local hero, photographer who's been taking pictures for the past 50 years, so he's got quite a story to tell us. But before we delve into our guest tonight, we have a couple of shout-outs to do, as usual, here on Rob's Inner Circle. The first one goes to my good friend and producer of Rob's Inner Circle, Miss Jenny DuHaime. Thanks for being there, Jay. You're the best. This show is as good as it is because of you, and you know that, right? And also, a congratulations to Jenny, who vowed to walk 60 kilometers for the month of November. She did much better than that. She wrapped up a whopping 131.74 kilometers. Congratulations, Jenny. A job well done. You are now ready for the Boston Marathon. They'll be calling upon you when it's time. Also, a shout out to my good friends and castmates of Daily Struggles. Our episode came out not long ago, actually, and we're getting great reviews as usual. And in this episode, what's special about it is that we have two brand new castmates that were introduced, and the likes of Miriam Lopez and Jeff Alminio, who did an exceptional job. Welcome to the cast, guys, and it was a lot of fun working with you guys. We had a good laugh with that. And also a shout out as well to our good friend Rox Vaccaro, who he actually had a cameo in our show. And we use this song, Can't Stop Running, which is like taking the world by storm. Congratulations, Charles. Your song is absolutely fantastic. It's a lot of fun. Much success to you. And we hope to have you back very soon. And also shout out to the rest of my friends and cast on Daily Struggles, Patty, Art, Jenny, with the rest of the guys also on productions and all that. I don't want to name any names because I'm going to forget some people. So good stuff, guys. Let's keep it up. We're presently working very hard on our season opener for episode 2. Lots and lots of work. So, guys, there's no shortage of work over here. You guys are going to have a great time with this episode as well. Stand by, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. A special mention that we're going to be doing something a little bit different this time around on Rob's Inner Circle. We're going to be having a holiday blitz. And that is not only are we going to be on our regular Monday slot, we're also going to be adding some podcasts in there. Notably, one of them is on the 27th of December. That's a Sunday, same time, 8 o'clock. We're going to have the entire cast of Daily Struggles here on Rob's Inner Circle on that special evening. You guys don't want to miss that. You have a chance to meet up with all of the cast members. Maybe some of the crew are going to tag along as well. So we're going to have a blast with that. You guys are invited to come along. And the following evening on the Monday, December 28th, we're going to have Connie Rotella as our guest as well, followed by the evening after that on the Tuesday, Canadian film producer Byron A. Martin. So he's going to be our guest as well. On the 30th, we're working on a confirmation. We don't have any confirmations yet, but we'll be getting back to you with that as soon as we know. So, guys, I think we're just about ready to rock the house over here, right? Are you guys ready? I hope so, because I know I am. I hope you guys all have your glasses of wine, right? Because this is very important here, yeah? Right? And you're in your pajamas as well, huh? I'm sure you're all in your pajamas, guys, eh? Everybody listens, huh? So, guys, let's raise the glass and let's, do our weekly. What is the ritual? We have to stretch out, relax, and just like let the steam go away. That's it. Let's take a couple of seconds over here. That's it. A little bit of stretching. Relax, guys. Just calm down. Let us carry the load. We'll take care of everything for you guys. You guys ready? Because I know I am. Guys, it's showtime. Let's get it on, guys. So tonight's guest is a local hero. He's an acclaimed Canadian photographer who has been recognized for his work with the TVA television and network and also Québécois. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us welcome our superstar tonight, our guest, Mr. Georges Dutil. Good evening, my friend. Welcome to Rob's Inner Circle.
Small superstar.
Small
superstar.
It's
great. It's great to be here, Robert.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so much. This is going to be a great show. The audience is going to be captivated. George, without further ado, let's just jump in right away. Let's talk about how you started off in the world of photography.
Oh, my God. I started in reverse. I wanted to be an actor.
Oh.
And I took about 4 years of theater classes, and then I started taking pictures of theater. Okay. And I've always been a music fan, so I would alternate between taking pictures of theater and rock bands. I would go to rock shows and take pictures as much as I wanted. In those days, you could do that. Even at one point I spent the whole show on Jethro Tull, and I was on the stage throughout the whole show, and nobody asked me to come down or anything. This was like in the bygone days.
So you're also, I understand you're taking, well, before the COVID hit and all that, you were taking pictures at Cabaret.
Yeah, I've been doing Cabaret for over 11 years now, working with a troupe called Candy Ass Cabaret, which is situated which has its house at the Café Cléopâtre, which is protected by Heritage Canada and Patrimoine everything, because it's been one of the oldest performing houses in Canada.
Okay.
And it's been open, and I've been doing pictures there. I love Cabaret because I love the burlesque because it's politically incorrect.
Okay.
And I think that we need a little bit of that these days because everybody is so hardwired. They need to bust out a bit, and burlesque and cabaret does that. And burlesque is from the tradition of vaudeville, actually. It's like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's not funny, sometimes it's funny. And if you don't like that number, stick around. The next one you'll love.
That was something interesting going on in the cabaret.
Yeah, it was great fun. It's always great fun, and the people there are so nice. They're like hard workers. Everybody works so hard, and they just nonstop, and they put all their hearts into it.
Well, so talking about superstars, you're a superstar yourself, George, but you took pictures.
Oh my God.
You took pictures of another superstar, our local international hero, and at her wedding, you were taking pictures. I
was one of the 4 photographers assigned to do Céline Dion's wedding, at the first wedding at the Basilique at the Cathédrale Notre-Dame, and we were there for 24 hours.
Oh my
I started at 7:30 on Saturday morning, ended going to bed at 7:30 the next day.
Wow.
And that was quite an event. That was quite an experience.
So tell me, you said you were taking, you set a record that you wanted to call the Guinness World.
I don't know if it's a record, but to me it was a record because it was like from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock. My mandate was to shoot all the couples that were invited to the wedding, and I managed to do 194 couples.
Oh my God.
In 5 hours.
Wow, that is epic.
And it was funny because it was a whole setup in the lobby of the hotel where we had
Okay.
set up like a real studio, and we had like flashes and power packs and everything. And we had one guy from the hotel standing near the power pack, and one guy downstairs at the electrical board, because I would be shooting so fast. We needed to go fast, and I was shooting so fast that we needed a lot of time. The power pack would just jump. It would just like breaker would jump, and so the guy on top would call the guy downstairs and say breaker, and the guy would light up the breaker again, and and so we could keep on shooting. I think you could have cooked an egg on my power pack that
Oh
day.
my God. So 194 couples, like in what is it, 5 hours? That
Yeah.
translates to how many pictures exactly?
Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea. I was just taking the pictures. We had runners. We had people picking up the films every hour, and they were bringing it to a lab that was open for 24 hours. And it was just essential because we were doing so many pictures. We were doing at the reception, at the supper, at the church wedding, the disco, the casino, everything. We covered everything.
So that was like a totally grandiose wedding. Is that
It
the biggest
was.
wedding
It
you've ever
was.
been to?
It was like royalty, actually. It
Okay.
was, and we had editors from all over the world
Oh my God.
checking out the pictures at the office, and they were picking up pictures and putting it their magazines all across the world. So,
Wow, that's amazing.
mm.
So tell me, not only did you do Celine, but you did some other local celebrities and the likes of Yvon Deschamps. You worked with him for quite a while.
Yeah, I was photographer for the show Samedi de Rire
Okay.
for 4 years. I did the show for 4 years, and then after that, I did with Pauline Martin for 2 years, Samedi PM, and they were that was great fun because Yvon was such a generous person, and everybody on the show, you become like part of a family. After the first halfway through the first year of doing it, you're part of the family. And it was funny because I would be working elsewhere during the day, and then I would come in like, I think taping was around 7 or something like that, and I'd be coming in like at quarter to 7 or 10 to 7, and the disco guy, the guy who would play music and spur the people on, would say, "Okay, we can start. George is here," you know, and it was like a big trip. It was really fun. We had a great time working with these people.
Well, you also did some other celebrities. One of them is the guy who thinks big.
Oh yeah, Julien Poulain.
Oh yeah, that is my international hero, Elvis Gratton. He's my international hero. I love the guy. And you're talking about the Julien Poulain. Actually, we're talking about what is it? A movie? Is it a series?
Yeah, he did a series called Minuit le Soir,
Okay,
which
and
is
apparently it's really good.
which is probably one of the best series I've seen on television. It was very intense, it was totally original. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. Uh, it was like nothing I'd ever seen before on TV.
So explain to me, George. You started off there. You were doing theater. You did theater for 4 years,
Yeah,
and then that was your dream. And then all of a sudden, you ended up not doing theater. You started taking pictures at the theater
yeah,
for other people,
yeah,
and then you never looked back. Why is it that
exactly.
you didn't pursue your dream of going on into even acting or even theater performance?
Actually, I found that what I liked most was being with people. I
Oh,
like I like people.
okay.
I'm essentially a portrait photographer. I love doing portraits. That's why I love being at the cabaret because there's so many characters there. There's so many people, different people that you meet. I think that we get richer the more people we know.
Okay.
The people that you meet enrich your life no matter what. It's all the time. You just grow. You just grow by meeting people, and
So
you get more sensitive to who people are. You can't avoid that.
Okay, I think we come to the moment, George, that folks, George, by the way, he's a, like I said at the beginning of the show, if anybody has just tuned in, he is an acclaimed Canadian photographer who has been recognized for his work at TVA Québécois. Absolutely brilliant photographer. We're going to be showing some of his pictures that he has taken. George, the screen is yours. Let's go take a look at the pictures you have for us over here.
Okay, let's see. Let's see.
Okay, that's a cabaret picture, right?
Yeah, this is a contortionist that came on the show. I was really stunned by her because she's not one of those tiny little Japanese. She was like a big girl, and she like did the contortions. It was amazing, and she was really impressive. And so I'm trying to get this to work properly now. And this is Dawn Ford. She's a very very funny lady. She she loves books, as you can tell.
Okay.
Like physically loves books. This is Diane LaBelle. She's a belly dancer. She teaches belly dancing also. She's an amazing performer. Uh, then we get Jimmy Fool, who's one of the MCs. He goes into all kinds of characters. You can never guess what he's going to be doing next. And then there's our house contortionist Martin Giroux. There's Nat King Cole, who's one of the best drag king that I know. So this is a female performer doing a male role. She sings her song. She doesn't lip sync. She like really sings. And then there's Tommy Toxic, who's a clown. He does all kinds of characters. Uh, these were people from Tribal Feathers.
Wow, these pictures
And,
are amazing.
and this is Velma. She's the head mistress of the whole thing. She's the one that holds the glue together. She's the glue that holds everything together. She's an amazing person. So this is some work from the cabaret, and
Okay.
then you get into my crazy work, which is like uh, all kinds of stuff, like montage and composites and everything that comes into my head. This was an idea I had a long time ago from a French book called Le Passe Muraille, which was a story about somebody who could have the ability to go through walls. And so I made it happen at one point. I just had to do it. This is one of my fetish characters. Is a rabbit who was like a mascot for a store, and he looked so depressed because he wasn't getting any attention, and so I just cut him out and I put him in all kinds of situations. And this is like conspiracy theories, people hiding in trees and watching what's happening. And then there's a nod to Stephen King with It.
Okay.
And this is this was during the coronavirus. I was thinking about people, like you need to go out and walk and take care of yourself. And this is more of my fantasy stuff. This was like a nod and a wink to Alfred Hitchcock's Birds, the birds. And
That's
this
wow.
is this is please be careful. These are dangerous. This is a dangerous tunnel. A lot of people have died there, so be careful. Do not go like. And these are people finally seeing the light.
George, perhaps we can go back to these pictures a little later
Sure, sure.
on. So tell me, George, did you? Okay, you're still active today, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
every day,
So let's say,
every day.
do you do some casting pictures as well?
Yeah, I've done a lot of casting pictures, and
Okay.
I can still do it. But I did all kinds of for all kinds of people.
Okay.
I did album covers also. I did some album covers. I did for Laurent Jalbert, Bob Walsh,
Okay.
U2, Dubmatic. I did 3 album covers for Dubmatic.
Wow.
They were really great guys, really great rap group.
George, before I forget, this is very important. The pictures that you showed us and all the other pictures you have,
Hmm.
is there a possibility that these pictures may be readily made available if someone wants to buy these pictures and give them as Christmas cards? Is that at all possible?
Sure, people
Sure.
can reach me on my Facebook page and
Okay.
just send me a personal message, and I usually answer at least hopefully within 24 hours.
And that would be Georges Dutil, as it is
Just
written.
Dutil photograph, because I have two pages. One is just like uh, mind works, whatever I see that's interesting, I put it on there. But if you want to see my pictures, they're all on Georges Dutil photograph on,
Okay.
on
Uh,
Facebook.
so let's go on and talk a little bit about the cameras you use. You said you use three cameras, and one of them is for a photographer of your caliber, a most unlikely camera, which would be the iPhone. We'll get to the other cameras afterwards.
Yeah.
With the iPhone, you have taken some absolutely amazing pictures.
Yeah, well, it's
Okay, George, if you have some of the pictures you've taken with the iPhone, maybe you
yeah,
could do two or three of them to the audience.
yeah. Just a second. Let me get through this here.
Folks, George has shown me the pictures he has taken, and I never knew that you can go so far with an iPhone. There's so much to know. Apparently, there's the ISO setting as well on the iPhone. George is going to explain this to us in a few moments. So
Yeah.
as George is going here,
Here, that's what this is a picture taken with an iPhone.
okay, this is an iPhone. Explain to us how this was exposed over here. What's the exposed?
Okay. The idea behind phones is that one thing for sure is you try and use the lowest ISO possible, which is like the speed. Before we used to call it the speed of a film. You had Tri-X, which was 400 ASA, you had 1600 ASA. But as regards to iPhones, if you want to get the most pleasant information, the more information possible out of your image, you're going to go to the lowest ISO possible, because that gives you all the information. As you can see here, you can see information in the snow, you can see details in the snow, you can see details in the highlights, you can see details in the shadows at the other end. And this would not be possible if you go higher. The problem is you get noise, or pixelization, you can call it whatever. It just kind of destroys the image. So you have to brace yourself, use a slower speed,
Okay.
and just take a shot. Go ahead.
We have a question for you, George. Our friend Mark St. Marie, who's tuned in. Thanks for tuning in, Mark. He's got a question for you. With which iPhone have you taken the picture that we were talking about?
Oh my! I've worked from the 4S to the now 11i Pro, the 11 Pro,
Okay.
and this was probably taken with my special edition. I think it was like the iPhone 6.
Oh my God, an iPhone 6 did this?
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing.
Well,
George,
you'd be surprised at what you can do with a phone. Well, like I said, I told we'd spoken before about this, and I told you like I did a whole show about flowers, and it was all taken with
the
a camera phone, and I did the work. All the work was done on the flower on the flowers also. So the thing is, people tend to not take the time to learn how to use the things that they have. And I remember when I was younger, I worked for a few weeks at a direct film, which was a camera store.
that is old.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. And people would come in and say, "Oh, there's a problem with my camera; it doesn't work." I said, "Did you read the manual?"
He forgot to take off the lens cap, right?
Exactly. And people just don't take the time to read the manual. I buy a new camera. I sit down, I put the camera on the table, I put the manual on the other side, and I look through it. And I've been doing this for 50 years.
I know some people when they go to IKEA, they assemble the furniture without reading the instructions, and after when it's finished, that little piece there, you have to take everything apart and start all over again. So, folks, this is a lesson to you. Whether it's furniture at IKEA or what have you,
Anything.
you always have to read the instructions. George, there's a lot more to photography than just going click, right?
I see a question here. Do you edit the photos from the iPhone? Yes, I do. I do. There's an incredible utility called Snapseed, Snapseed, And this is almost like Photoshop for the telephone, and it's quite intuitive. You can get around it quite easily. You learn to use it and do very, very nice pictures.
Why is
Sorry.
why is it that you prefer to use the iPhone, in comparison with, let's say, an Android? Is there a reason? Because an Android, you have a lot more pixelization with it.
Yeah, pixels, yeah.
Why an iPhone?
I don't know because well, there's one reason because iPhone did not go the we want to do thousands of megapixels on the sensor. The sensors are very small on telephones, and the more pixels you have, the higher the contrast becomes.
Okay.
Whereas with the iPhone, the tonalities are much softer, and so you get a wider range of tones. And maybe that's one of the reasons why, like I showed you that picture, winter picture, and maybe that's one of the reasons why you get so much information in the thing because the pixels are bigger, you know, even though they are very small, even though the sensor is very small, the pixels are bigger because they're not all compressed in a small space.
So you were part of something very special. You were telling me that you were in New York,
Oh yeah,
a French production, Les
yeah.
Folie.
It was a show put together by Guy Latraverse
Okay.
for the Francopholies, and it
Okay.
was put together at the Apollo Theater in Harlem.
Okay.
And for me, that was like uh, a Muslim going to Mecca
Okay.
because I'm a great fan of funky music, of James Brown and all the rhythm and blues and funky music. So going there was like a huge thrill for me. And every night, I was there for 10 days, and every night, I would leave all my stock there, and they had these bouncers there, the kind of people that have no neck.
Okay.
There's a head and there's the shoulders.
Okay.
There's no in between,
Hmm.
and these guys you would call sir. And they were all so nice. Everybody was so nice. The director showed us around, brought us everywhere. And one night I'm going. One of the singers that was one of the performers that was there was Cab Calloway,
Oh, wow.
and Cab Calloway was probably I think he was the first one to perform at the Apollo Theater in 1925 when it opened. And so I walked down to the dressing room, and I see Cab Calloway. I said, "Oh my God, Mr. Cab Calloway, it's really an honor to meet you." So it
Did
was like quite a thrill, and it was a huge show. There was Grace Jones, there was Philippe Lafontaine, there was La Compagnie Créole, there was Ginette Renault, there was Roch Voisine, there was Vanessa Paradis, there was oh my God, so many people were there. Moran, who died recently. Actually, we just lost her, and yeah, so many people were there, and it was a great time, and everybody was really nice. We had an amazing time there. And it's funny because one night, and in those days I used to smoke. I don't smoke anymore, but
Okay.
I used to smoke. And one night I went out to a store to get some cigarettes, and I'm in Harlem, and I'm this white dude. So I go to the store, and the first thing the guy tells me says, "Are you lost?" I said, "No." I said, "I'm doing some pictures of the Apollo." He said, "Oh, okay." Then the second question was, "Are you French?" Because only French people would adventure themselves into Harlem, because everybody's afraid of Harlem. Harlem's like any other town, it's like there's no more danger there than anywhere else. So it was very funny. First question, are you lost? Second question, are you French? I love that. This is kind of stuff that makes good memories,
So
fun
you've
memories.
also taken the pictures of hockey players. One of them, Guy Carbonneau, when he was in Dallas.
Yeah, we did Guy Caplan in Dallas with his wife and daughters, and he's such a gentleman. He's such a nice guy. We lost somebody very, very important to the Canadian team when we lost that guy.
Uh, do you remember why he was traded? Uh,
No, not really, not
okay.
really. I think it had to do with that finger he gave to that reporter. to that photographer.
You know what? You're right. It's coming back to me. You're absolutely right.
I,
That
I I think it had something to do with that. But that's another thing is that Guy is such a gentleman. He probably asked that photographer, okay, you've got enough pictures. Could we just go on with our game and just play? And the guy probably just insisted and kept going and kept going. And then at one point he said, "Hey, get lost," and they printed that. I thought that was such done in bad taste. That was so stupid to do.
and how about the story you have with the Stéphane Richer at Madison Square Garden with the New York Rangers?
Yeah, that was funny. I asked for Stephane's she's jersey,
Okay.
and the clothing manager, I don't know what he's called, the guy who handles the jerseys and things like that.
Equipment manager.
The
Equipment manager.
Yeah, the equipment manager, and he says, "Oh, you can't do that." I said, "Well, we've come from Montreal, and I need the jersey to take a picture with Stéphane." And he said, "Well, I'll call direction." So he calls up direction, and he says, "They want to talk to you," and passes me the phone. And so I talked to the guy, explained to him this what I'm doing and why I'm there, why I want the jersey. And then I look at the guy, the equipment manager, and I said, "Okay, he wants to talk to you." Yes, I just passed him back the phone, and he left it to me. And Stefan said, "Don't worry about it. I'll bring it back tomorrow. There's no problem." The guys are really nice. They're really nice, and like I also met Denis Brodeur in New
You
York.
had a story with Denis
Uh,
Bradar. Tell us
uh,
about Denis Bradar.
yeah, he was also another guy who was happy because most of the time all the people ask them and they always talk about hockey. We go there and we're like French Canadians, so I said, "Oh, ça fait du bien de parler français." And his wife was really nice. He had us over for supper, and we talked and we talked about all kinds of stuff. It was really really a lot of fun.
Do you do also other sports besides hockey, or have you done?
Oh, I did. We used when we had the expos. We did the expos, and I did not like working for baseball players. They,
No.
no, they're. I don't know. They don't care. They don't. I don't know. It was weird. It was weird. I just did one or two. I didn't get a chance to meet like the nice guys. Maybe I didn't. But hockey players, I really get along with. They're really nice guys. They're down to earth. But
Did
I
you?
think maybe baseball is like it's another bracket. It's probably like if I met with the NBA stars, like they're super millionaires, Maybe they don't care.
Okay, so if we go back to photography now, and the le métier de la photographie, as we say in
Hmm.
French. Sorry, folks, I had like a little brain freeze there. I had to say it in French, but
Nuts and bolts.
the industry of photography. There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. I got that just in time. Okay. Um, you've been a photographer for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've seen um, the camera that was a shoebox, basically, to what we have today, like a little telephone, and you're taking pictures with that. Um, how much development, evolution, have you seen, and where is it that you say, "Wow"? I mean, this progress is just like amazing. Where is it that you said, like, starting at this point, you said, "Wow, this is like really amazing in progress."
One of the things that I like very much about digital photography is the fact that we're not poisoning ourselves, for one, because all the acids and the thing that we would be breathing when I was doing like for 27 years, I did black and white and color in the dark room, and we're breathing all this stuff which wasn't very healthy,
The
right?
chemicals were strong, eh?
Yeah, but also the ability to see many possibilities of your pictures. You could create virtual copies and see, okay, I like this better, I like that better. I can do whatever I learned in analog photography has helped me to be a better digital photographer.
So, do you prefer analog or digital in terms of photography? Because I know that there are some advantages in terms of conserving your photos. The analog is much better; it holds it better than digital. So, what do you prefer? Apart from the fact that you're using chemicals, if it was easier to have analog photography today, between the two, what do you prefer working with?
That's a tough question. I think that if you safeguard your stuff properly, there shouldn't be any more problems with conservationism. Uh, if you print correctly, you're still archival. You're printing with archival inks and archival paper. So these will last 150 years. They'll last forever. If kept in the proper conditions. So that's not that much of an issue. Uh, I, I know that hard disk are not the safest place to put your stuff, because it's not, are they going to fail? It's, when are they going to fail?
That's something I've been hearing a lot.
So
And let this be a lesson to everybody listening tonight. When we're
yeah.
talking digital, whether it's video or photo,
Oh yeah,
always have to have a backup,
backup
have a
copies.
backup, have a backup.
Yeah, definitely.
It's exactly. It's
And
when
especially now the memory is so cheap. I remember when I got before I bought my first DSLR, my first digital DSLR. I had Canon Coolpix, which was like it had an articulated body which you could move. You could.
okay.
And I bought my first memory card, which was 128 meg.
Mm-hmm.
Cost me $600.
Oh my God!
Now I can buy 6 terabytes for 300.
And still, if you shop around, you go on Amazon.
Oh yeah,
And I'm an avid Amazon shopper. You can get great deals on Amazon.
yeah, definitely.
So, okay, let's talk about. Yeah, we had gotten into the point, to the discussion that taking a picture is just not okay. Don't move anybody. Say cheese, click.
Mm,
It's a lot more complicated than that because there's the ISO setting, there's the shutter speed, there's the
mm.
aperture, the depth of field. So let's take it. Let's say from the beginning. What is the ISO setting that you have to have, and when do you set it?
Depends on the situation. If you're shooting in low light, like if I shoot stage, I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna shoot at 3,200 ISO. Because I have a full frame camera, and
Okay.
the full frame allows me to do that because it records more information, and that way I get all the information I need, and I get the speed that I need, because now people knowing that you can shoot at higher speed, they tend to light things less.
Okay.
So the level of lighting now, if you work like in theater, it's like you go crazy because it's very low. You're shooting at very slow speeds, even when shooting at 3,000 ISO. You're shooting at 1/15th, 1/30th, 1/8 of a second sometimes. So you need that speed, and progress has been made so much. It's unbelievable. I did once. I was with a friend in a bar, and we're having a drink and talking, and I decided to take a picture of him. And I didn't look at my camera settings. So I just took the picture, and I went home, and I got home, and I opened the picture and I look at it, and it's at 40,000 ISO.
Do you have that picture handy? Because that's a very interesting picture. That's a freak accident. And for people who understand photography here, they're going to love knowing what you did with that. And there's a couple
Where is that?
scene over here.
Let me see
There
if I
are
can.
photographers. A nice shout out to my friend Michael Roberts, who has joined us. He's a photographer, an established photographer.
Mhm.
If you can find that photo, that would
Yep.
be very, very. That would be cool.
Let me see if I can find that quickly.
While you're going through that, I'm just going to go for a quick briefing here to the audience. Everybody,
Okay.
thank you for tuning in. We're with Georges Dutil, a professional photographer based in Montreal, who's been shooting pictures for 50 years. Folks, don't be shy. You're allowed to ask questions to Georges. He's very, very open. Any questions you have, he's easily reachable on Facebook. Georges Dutil Photographe. Um, if you guys want to hire him for casting pictures or anything at all there concerning photography, Georges is going to be available for you. You just catch him on his Facebook page. And to all the people who've tuned in, thank you for tuning in. This is an exciting evening tonight with Georges, our local hero from Montreal. Like I said, he's been doing photography for the past 50 years. Georges, as you're finding that, maybe you can throw a quick question in there.
Sure.
Okay, so we talked about, yes, how about the aperture? Because the aperture as well is very important.
Well, if you're shooting in low light situation, you have to open up as much as possible. You have to get as much light in as possible. So the smaller the aperture, the more light comes in.
Georges, we have a question here for Mac Saint Marie. He's asking how much you charge for pics, but you know what? For the sake of privacy, maybe you and Mark can hook up with each other and discuss the prices like in Messenger.
Yeah, that's the best. Send it in a private message.
So, Mark, like I said, if you do want to reach Georges Dutil, you go on his Facebook page, Georges Dutil Photographe, and George is a nice guy. He's gonna do whatever he has to help you. Oh, you have another question here from our local hero, film producer Teresa Picciano from Montreal. She's asking, what are your suggestions regarding actor headshots, please?
So what for what?
Okay, what are your suggestions regarding the actor's headshot? This is for casting pictures.
That's a tricky question because not everybody wants the same thing.
Okay. In general, let's say.
I tend to work with people, trying to be as natural as possible, because a lot of people have told me that we don't want to we don't you need to have a straight face so that the director can imagine that he can do whatever he wants with you and make you up. But I sort of go against that, because if your picture is not interesting to begin with, why would he hire you?
That's right.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. If you don't,
you have to have a captivating picture, of course.
Yeah.
That would mean the background is very important. You can't have anything that's distracting to the eye. You want the focus to be on yourself, the actor.
Exactly. Here's a picture.
There's a picture. Okay, and this picture, just again to recap, what was this picture here?
This was like in a bar. As a friend of mine, and we were talking, and I decided to take a picture of him. And this also went through my process, also, so it's not completely. But the base picture was good enough, had enough information in it for me to take pictures. And I was totally blown away, because I couldn't believe I had done that. Because when I saw the eyes, I said, "Oh my God, this is gonna be crap." And it's not, and it wasn't. It turned out to be quite an interesting shot, actually.
Wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful. Okay, Mark is asking here. Okay, you're going to be taking casting pictures, but you still have to be wearing makeup. Is that it?
It depends. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. You don't need to necessarily have makeup, because it's you're natural. The people will see who you are. Because I remember sometimes when we used to do pictures in the studio, and we had girls come in, you'd see their Z card, which is like their model cards, and they send you, and they show you. See the girl come in, and she comes to the door and say, "Yes, you're here for," because you don't recognize her, because the makeup was so intense that you don't know who she is. So sometimes it's best that as little as makeup as possible, I think.
Because it has to be something that is not distracting.
Exactly. It mustn't. In French, we say dénaturer la personne.
Exactly.
You don't want the person to be something that she's not, because then, when it comes time to make them up, to make them up, then you don't know what you're doing. You don't know who you're dealing with.
Okay, so all right. As we move along over here, we talked about the aperture. We talked about the ISO.
Hmm.
Another important function on the camera is the shutter speed.
Hmm.
Okay, um, so talk.
Also, this is also subject oriented.
Okay,
It's always, if you're shooting flowers on a windowsill, you can use pretty much any speed you want.
okay,
It's kind of complex because there's like a triangle: the shutter speed, the ISO, and the aperture. They all work together.
okay,
So it depends on the subject. Like we talked about one thing, like you said. I've seen pictures of race cars, and the background is moving, and the car is very nice. Actually, you're actually shooting that at a relatively slow speed, because what you're doing is, to give time for the background to blur. You need to have a slow shutter speed. So what you're doing is you're following the car. You're following the car, and the background is moving.
okay,
So you decide which is which.
okay. So that would be for that. So in other words, what that means, well, when you're saying a slow shutter speed, are we talking like 1.8, 1.15, 1.30? What
Uh,
speed are we
a,
talking about?
a slow shutter speed depends on the subject. Like if you're shooting a race car that's going in front of you, in front like that, and he's going like 125 miles an hour, you'd better have a fast enough shutter speed.
And when we're talking about a fast enough shutter speed, what's that? 125?
Yeah, 125th or 160th a second. 160th, 180, 125th would be good, to get that blurry background if you want.
Okay. So George, talk to us about your experience with France.
Oh, that was a funny thing, because I met this woman. She was a teacher in France, and she said she just loved my pictures. She said, "Oh, I love your work. You have to show your work in Paris." And I said, "Yeah, okay, sure." And he says, "Well, you find a way to come. We'll put you up." Okay. So I went to see our friends at the Bistro Sainte Catherine in Schlegel Maisonneuve, and I talked to Raymond Viget, who's the director there. And I said, well, it's too bad they don't have benefit shows for photographers who need to go to France but don't have money to go and do their show there. So Raymond, being the genius that he is, he said, yeah, that's a good idea. So 2 weeks later, we're putting up a show. I bring some friends from the cabaret. I have a tap dancer, I have magician. We put up a show. I put up some pictures. We sell enough pictures, and we auction off some pictures, and we made enough money to pay for my airplane ticket, for my rent at home, and a little bit of pocket money to boot. So I went to France, and I did a show there. And actually, they did the show twice. I did it when I went there, and I also they kept we left I left the pictures there, and they did it at the like their own Maison de la Culture in September. I did mine show in March 2015, and then they did the show again in September of 2015.
Um, I'm sure it must be amazing. Like, everybody thinks of France. The first thing that comes to their mind is Paris, the Eiffel
Yeah.
Tower.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
but
I did pictures in Paris, and at one point I'm coming close to the Eiffel Tower, and I'm going, oh my God, I'll never get around this town. I'll never cover this town because it's so big. It's such a big city, Paris. It's huge, and you can go to all these little places there, little places everywhere that are interesting. The people are fun. they're nice people. Everybody's. I had a great time in Paris.
How is a Québécois? Um, we say this in French, reçu. How are you received as a Quebec
Perceived.
with your accent? Actually, how are you greeted? Okay, you go to France.
Sometimes it's funny, but sometimes most of the time people really like us. People really like Québécois in Paris.
Accent, there's such a major difference in the way you
Yeah.
pronounce. A lot of people in France, they meet us for the first time over there, and some of them they jump, they go, oh my God, it's like they're just so surprised with the big culture difference with the way we
Yeah.
speak differently.
Well,
So
it's funny. Like when I was coming back from Paris, at one point I was at a bus stop waiting for the bus to go to Charles de Gaulle, and there was a guy there, and he said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Oh, I'm from Quebec." He said, "Ah, les Québécois, t'as dû faire du catch, tu sais, comme tu portes la ceinture fléchée, tu sais, comme no." And we started talking and talk about music. He said, "Ah, you know a lot about music." Yeah, we have radios, we have records, we have, it's sometimes the perception is like really detached and so far off base. It's amazing. And even a long, long time ago, uh, I went to France in 1970, and we were staying at this castle, which was like a medieval castle,
okay,
like 9-foot walls, and you'd put rocks in the fireplace and to warm them up, to warm your bed before going to bed at night. And there was one guy there, and the people we were staying with were really fun people. They were like theater company, and they had this guy come over, and he said, "Oh yeah," and they let him talk, because they knew we were Quebecois, and they didn't want him to know that we were. So they just let him talk. Said, "Oh yeah, uh, I went to Quebec, and they live like in teepees, and it's like so off chart. It was unbelievable." Do you
actually,
like magic show like Harry Houdini and Famous Magic? Yeah, I love magic. As a matter of fact, my uncle was a magician when I was a kid, so that really, really turned me on. At one time, I just sold I sold like 2 years ago. I sold my old collection of magic books, of which I had about for maybe $5,000-6,000 worth of magic books. I sold them to Alain Choquette,
wow.
and Alain Choquette bought my old collection of books. And I met with Jeff McBride in the United States, did pictures with Jeff McBride, Eugene Berger, Tamaris in Spain, and these. I used to go. I took magic courses for a while also because I love magic. I've always loved magic. I still do a little bit, but I don't perform because to be a good magician, it takes as much time as it does to be a good photographer.
Okay,
So I don't perform. I like doing the magic. I like sometimes I'll do it, but just for friends and things like that. But it's not something that I want. I don't want to ruin anything for anybody else.
well, I guess Martin Magic Videos over here was very happy with the answer. So thanks a lot, Martin, for asking the question. George, we're running out of time over here, unfortunately. This show is really going by fast. I want to cover, apparently, you have some books out there. Let's talk about your books.
Yeah, I have three books. One is about Schläger Maisonneuve,
Okay.
which covers it's a 92-page book, which has almost 160 pictures of Schläger Maisonneuve.
Wow.
And I have another one which sort of gives an overview of what I do. It's like an overview of what I do. And the other one is more, I don't know how to describe it. Well, you can find them on Blurb.
Okay. And
People,
blurb.com?
yeah, I think it is. I think
Okay.
it
So
is. I think
blurb.com, they can find your books over there.
Yeah, you can see the books. You can even browse through them to see what it's like. They've got live view, so you can see inside the book, so you can tell if you're really interested and really want to buy it or not.
Okay. So listen, you're still active. Is there
Oh yeah,
anything else like photography is wonderful? Is there anything else you want to pursue as you're doing photography as well?
I have two other photo projects that I'm working on.
Okay.
One I've been working at for close to 3 years now, and when it comes out, it should be interesting. I'm not talking about it. Don't want to jinx it.
Okay.
And another one's been like in the works for 10 years now. Is a project I have on Hochelaga Maisonneuve, and I want to I want to people to know more about the pictures that I've done. Hopefully, we'll get to show them to people.
Okay, so okay, you don't need to do magic tricks. Pictures are magical. Great job. That's a big compliment coming from our friend Patty.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very sweet of you.
Wow. So George, what is the advice that you have for anybody who wants to start off with photography right now? Because obviously the most affordable camera these days is the cell phone.
Yeah.
So which apps do you uh, suggest to go along with the phone? Let's say for Android and for iPhone. What are
Okay. For iPhone, I would one of the most sophisticated camera app that I've seen is the M645 Pro, and that camera has all the tools that you would normally find in on a real camera.
wow.
As regards Android, you'll have to do your search on Google account because I at one point I was looking for maybe change from Apple to because I heard that Huawei had Leica lenses on their phone. So I said, my God, this is really great. So I started looking at Android, and I found that there was a lack of applications. Not as many designers were making applications for Android phones as they do for Apple phones.
I
Uh,
had a question for you.
yeah.
It's not in the listed tonight, but one of my friends has asked me. She says she has her telephone. She is filming video. Maybe you can help with this.
Mm.
And as it's filming, it's like it goes to brighter to darker. It's like something with the aperture. Is that a setting or is that a
Yeah, it is. It is. If you, the idea is to because your meter is constantly reading the light. So if
okay?
there's any change in light, it will follow that change.
Okay.
And it's all and the light meter is always trying to give you 18% gray.
Okay. So how
So
do we?
the thing is, uh, set your light up, choose your aperture, and do that manually.
Okay, you
If
can
you
do that
set yeah, you can do that.
with
If
with
you set
your
if
phone.
you set your aperture manually, no matter what the changes happen, your aperture will remain the same. But if you leave it on auto, that's when it happens that it goes up, it goes down, it does whatever it pleases.
Okay.
So
So, and where could we go fix this set?
there's a tool for um, filming with phones called Filmic Pro,
Okay.
and it costs I think it's something like $27. But if you figure what a movie camera costs, that's really cheap. And it's the best thing out there. It is the best program. They have made feature films with that
Oh wow,
that tool. So
amazing.
they made documentaries, they make music videos using the Filmic Pro. And it's like I said, it's like about $27. And it's really worth it. If you're doing it seriously, if you want to do videos seriously with your phone, you need that.
Well, that's quite affordable. $27. That's not a lot. That's
I
pretty.
know, I know it's not a lot. It's like sometimes I see people, Yeah, but it costs $5. My God, a lens. I have lenses that cost like $2,000, $2,500.
Uh,
Just a lens, and you can't take a picture with a lens. You need a camera that goes with it. The camera that goes with it's like $4,000.
wow.
So when people tell me, yeah, it's $5, I say, come on, give me a break.
George, unfortunately, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, yes. We have another question coming for you.
Mhm.
Okay. What's next? What's coming up next for you?
Me
Yeah.
not stopping taking pictures.
So you're going to go on and on and on like a
Oh
little.
yeah,
There's no stopping you.
yeah. If probably I'll die with a camera in my hands. Yeah.
Well, George, this was an absolutely beautiful night. Thank you so much for being with us.
That
Thank
was
you everybody for tuning in. And if you people want to hook up with George, as we said before, we'll say it again. When I hook up with George, whether it's casting pictures, you want to hire him for a banquet, whenever, but of course the time has to be right, not in the conditions we are right now with COVID. You can reach George at Georges Dutil
photo.
photograph on his Facebook page, and George is going to get back to you. So George, please stand by. We're going to come and get you in the studio. I'm going to be signing out right now, but we're going to come and get you afterwards. So stand by. Don't go away, please.
Okay.
So
Thanks everybody. Thanks for listening.
thank you, George. Stand by. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our guest tonight, Mr. George Dutil, an acclaimed Canadian photographer who, among all of the accomplishments he has had over the years, they're an absolutely gracious gentleman, very talented. Congratulations to you. He was recognized for his work at the TVA television network in French, and also Québécois, TVA being part of Québécois. So, ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you to each and every one of you. Stay tuned next week, same time, same place, as we're going to be having as our guests Mr. Jeff Gunn and Emmanuel Zhao. Folks, thank you very much for tuning in once again. Have a great week. God bless you all, and see you next week, same time. Ciao, baby.